Welcome to the channel about a healthy lifestyle.
None of us wants to look older than we really are, and of course, genetics plays a huge role in both our aging process and how we look from the outside. But there are things that we can control and influence, and there are products that make us age much faster on the inside and on the outside. In this video, I've put together those foods that make us age much earlier, and of course, these foods need to be eliminated from our diet. The first food to give up is white bread. The whole point is that when refined sugars combine with protein, so-called glycation end products are formed. These substances will accelerate the aging process and aggravate chronic diseases. I realize, of course, that many of us are used to eating white bread, but there's a reason nutritionists have been talking about it lately. It's salt, it's white refined sugar, and it's flour. We mean all floury things. And white bread has a high glycemic index. But if you really like bread, there is good news. You can replace it with sprouted grain bread. This is the kind of bread that has no added sugar, and it also contains antioxidants that are good for our bodies. So don't get me wrong, I'm not an opponent of bread. I'm an opponent of bread with added sugar. The next point is sugar. White refined sugar is one of those foods that causes the biggest and most obvious problems. It contributes to the formation of glycation end products and destroys collagen in our bodies. Our aging process is significantly accelerated if we consume a lot of sugar. Sugar is abundant in confectionery, sugary drinks, and many other foods. The next item is trans fats and margarine. Studies have shown that people who consume large amounts of margarine have more wrinkles. Margarine is much worse than butter because it is hydrogenated oil, which is trans fat. Trans fats are extremely destructive to our bodies. They cause cardiovascular disease and obesity. They are deposited in the body and remain in it for up to 50 days. Trans fats also provoke cancer. A very bad combination is trans fats in conjunction with sugar. For example, the burger. It contains white bread and trans fats. This is bad for the cardiovascular system and will cause premature aging. The next item is ice cream. It is essentially lactose, glucose, that is sugar, along with milk proteins heated to a very high temperature. Ice cream is a perfect example of heated fat and sugar. Also, consuming trans fats makes our skin more vulnerable to ultraviolet light. And being in the sun too much is bad for our skin. So lying on the beach and eating ice cream is not healthy. The next product is French fries or chips or anything that is cooked in a deep fryer. Fried vegetable oil is a killer. Fryers fry in oil at a high temperature. Often the oil doesn't change. The excessive heat treatment of the same oil produces huge amounts of trans fats, glycidyl esters, and free radicals. They affect our molecules at the DNA level, which is extremely destructive to our bodies. What's more, French fries and chips contain an enormous amount of salt that is also harmful to our skin and causes premature skin aging. Because of excessive salt intake, our skin gets covered in wrinkles much earlier. French fries are starch, which is kind of like sticky glucose molecules. And then it's fried in a deep fryer, which is fat. Fat plus starch, and we get a huge amount of glycation end products. They are often eaten with ketchup, which is high in sugar and increases harm to our bodies. Want to start looking old early? Eat French fries or potato chips with ketchup. The next product is ribbing and barbecue. You take the ribs, that is, the protein, pour the sauce, and the sugar, and heat them up. And when you've eaten fried ribs, after about an hour you can get sluggish, a bunch of stomach problems. So when you're frying ribs, it's very important to use a sugar-free source of use condiments, just sugar-free dry seasonings and sea salt. The next point that is very controversial is milk. This is where the debate goes on and on. Some studies show its absolute safety, or on the contrary its benefits for our bodies. Other studies recommend limiting the consumption of dairy products. The fact is that when milk is produced on an industrial scale, 75% of cows are pregnant, and this is not very healthy, because the pregnant cow excretes estrogen into the milk. It's not recommended that people consume that kind of milk. In this regard, there is a recommendation to consume fermented dairy products, because, in the production process, this negative factor is leveled. Therefore, it is better to consume yogurt or cheese than fresh milk. Also, many adults are unable to digest lactose. When they drink milk, they experience indigestion. In some people who consume dairy products, permanent microinflammation processes are increased, and this leads to oxidative stress, which is the main cause of premature aging both inside and out. There is a separate video on my channel about the benefits and harms of dairy products. If you really like milk, I recommend you try plant-based milk. It's relatively new but is considered a healthier alternative to milk. Technically, it's not really milk, because plants do not give milk. Milk is given by mammalian animals. But in terms of taste, sometimes it tastes even better. There's rice milk, almond milk, and soy milk, and I like to add hazelnut milk to my coffee. The next item is sugary sodas. It contains a lot of sugar and caramel coloring. You heat up this soda as soon as you consume it, and all that sugar in your body at 37 degrees combines with your blood proteins and with other proteins. For example, all these combinations bind and damage the protein. It is very important to drink enough, at least 1 liter per day, of clean water. Drinking lukewarm water in the morning after waking up is especially helpful. People over the age of 60 usually stop feeling thirsty and therefore stop drinking fluids. Dehydration seriously affects the entire body. It can cause muscle weakness, fatigue, apathy, lack of motivation, sudden confusion, drop in blood pressure, rapid heart rate, and angina, chest pain. So try to drink some sugar-free fluids every 2 hours. There is a separate video on my channel about the benefits of drinking warm water. Friends, please write in the comments, what of these you eat or vice versa? What of these you do not eat on principle? Share your experiences and opinions. It will be interesting. And now I recommend you to watch my other video, where I talk about the products which promote thrombus formation. Thank you for your likes, comments, and subscriptions. In the description of the video, you will find more useful information. All the best to you.
I wish you health.